13575, creating the rural councils. There was an amazing clip on that we played previously in past INFOWARS broadcasts. So for more on the federal government's takeover of private property through various excuses and justifications, we go now to Keith Haley. He's an activist in the Michigan area, and he has a long background with weather forecasting. He was part of various computer forecasting programs. He was also a severe weather observer for the National Weather Service, among other parts of his background. So we are joined by him now to talk about how FEMA is forcing people to buy insurance. Are you there, sir?
Exactly. Hey, good afternoon. My name is Keith Haley. I've been living here in my home for 48 years since 1963, December of. So it's going to be 48 years this coming December. It started out last December or so. I received a letter from Wells Fargo Mortgage Company stating that I have to have mortgage insurance. I said, this must be some mistake. Because when we bought our mortgage, I actually signed up for it in 2003, everything was fine and dandy. I mean, they said, Mr. Haley, you don't have to worry about anything. You're not in a flood zone whatsoever. And come to behold, I wind up getting a notification, and I asked, is this some mistake? They said, well, FEMA told them that to tell us, the mortgagees, that we have to have flood insurance. I said, this is ridiculous. I've been living here in my home at that time 47 years, haven't had any floods whatsoever. I've been living here since the age of 8 years old. And since I'm a severe weather spotter, I also tell National Weather if we have any what we call flooding. Well, all the years I've been living here, we haven't ever had the river even come close to my front doorstep. I'm better than 100 feet away from the river. Mm-hmm. Now, and then here it is, I was told that I had to have 45 days notice to get it done, or that the mortgage company would find flood insurance for me at an even higher rate. So I went up going on YouTube, and I says, what's going on? And there was this one couple out, I believe in Colorado, didn't jump to the tune of the mortgage company, and they had to, quote, get flood insurance. And this was a little tiny stream, wasn't even worth to say anything of any water to come out of the ground. So they, even though they had maybe 15 or 20 feet worth of a small brook or a little stream, they had to have what we call flood insurance. And then because of that, they don't know what they're going to do, how to pay for their mortgage, because of the simple fact is that FEMA told them through their mortgage company they have to have flood insurance.
Exactly. So we were talking about redrawing the maps, expanding the flood zones, and then forcing people to buy really expensive and as you point out in the documents you sent us, really pretty useless insurance. Tell them how much it cost.
Okay, for me, $800 with a $5,000 deductible, and that's not even including anything for your contents of your home. They said that you have to have that amount of insurance to cover for the full value of your home. Well, Michigan took has taken quite a few hits, and they say kind of make a pun out of it. Our mortgage is underwater, ha ha. Mm-hmm. Well, because it's at that time when we took the mortgage out, it was worth say $100,000. We'd be lucky if we get 40 out of it, but yet it has to be for the full replacement value. And that gets to be adding up to a few thousands of dollars. Well, as it stands right now, I am on Social Security. My wife is too, and I get a small state pension. And now with this $800, there's no guarantee it's going to stop at $800. Next year it could be $1,000. It could be $1,200 the following year. Especially with all the disasters that has taken place here in the United States, and FEMA being broke, how much more will it go up? We are already paying taxes, and FEMA is part of Homeland Security. We're always paying a big chunk for this or a big chunk of that. I have to live within my budget. Why can't the government live within theirs? And I just see it as a big power grab, and also more of a confiscation of what we call our monies that we do have we're getting. And since I just recently got a 3.6 increase, oh yes, I'm living under big money. It amounts to is maybe $30 or $35. Mm-hmm. And what can you buy, especially with what's going on in the stores and especially at the gas pumps? And I just find it ridiculous. Now, add insult to injury, they told me I had to have everything done in 45 days. I just recently received the policy in July stating that it will start maybe June 31st until July 1st of 2012. Well, you know, if they were such a big hurry in 45 days, why did it take them almost 6 months to issue out a policy? And another thing, I received a little type booklet stating how to process a claim. Later, the letter was dated August 30th. I didn't receive it until maybe 2 or 3 weeks or so ago, and also had a history of any claims that had been filed on this property for flood insurance.
Right.
If this was, it says there's been, they say, no claims on this record, and it goes back all the way to 1978. Now, with the flood insurance from FEMA, they say, I've seen it on TV, I've seen it on other places on the news, they say you may have a 25 or 30 chance, or say 1 in 4 chances of having that flood during a 30-year period.
Yeah.
Well, this is 1978. It's better than 30 years. And by that time, the way they figure, I would have had my home, what we call, flooded out 4 times.
And then
I'm sorry. I just totally disagree with it. Their maps are totally inaccurate. And I'm not going to go down without a fight. And I'm just trying to be like the 21st century Paul Revere, telling everybody,
warning people, yeah.
write your congressman and do something.
But we know on the bigger picture, it's a power grab all across the country. They're forcing people on any kind of waterway, any coastway to buy flood insurance. And we've already talked about how much it costs. But let's talk about the takeover where the government won't help you, like in Katrina, but they're going to take over all these waterways. We covered just yesterday how in Missouri, they're ordering people to move from lake homes or go along with all these crazy regulations because a hydroelectric dam has some kind of claim over the area. And you've also seen how 2/3 of the population lives in the so-called Constitution-free border zone. That's all along all the coastways. That's where almost everyone lives. Mr. Haley, your comments.
Well, I think it's more like we are being surrounded. The takeover is being in process. And what they're trying to do is probably want to round us up and put us in camps. And people have to say, enough's enough. We're not taking it. We've got to stand up for our rights and tell our senators, I don't care what it takes, to get the message across. I've been trying to get a hold of my senator, Debbie Stabenow, and I have received absolutely nothing in return from her. I even wanted to try to even have a personal meeting, one-on-one, or a group of us stating, say, here's what's going on. I testified in front of an insurance committee for the state of Michigan. They passed a resolution called H.R. 62 to help Congress get off their duff and actually do something to help out Michigan and help this region or across the country to get something going and stop FEMA once and for all. FEMA originally was scheduled to, quote, help out people for disasters and also help out, say, for nuclear wars, but this has gone way past their main objective.
Well, it's definitely time to say no. We've seen really an inability from the states seemingly to say no to FEMA or any other federal agency. They just grab whatever they want. Now, you have also been taking action not only through Congress, but with your neighbors and things. You've got a document here, FEMA coming at your door and flood insurance, trying to educate people about all kinds of points going on here. And I mean, among other things, it drives down the home value. You talked about how people on fixed incomes won't even be able to afford their own homes. Tell us about your website and what people could do to fight back wherever they might be.
Okay, my website, I did this everything on a very minimal amount of money. The website is what I call a freebie. I learned this from Kim Commando, where to go on the internet that you can design your own website. So I wound up getting the information, put it involved, and I developed a website. I'll give you the website address, www.wix.com/Keith, KEITHROY _HALEY JR /FEMA FEMA -AND flood FLOOD insurance.
Yes, sir.
And I know it's a long one, but bookmark it so you have to type it all the time.
And and we do have that on screen, sir.
Okay. And that way you can research what's going on. You can take a look at my interviews from the TV stations. I've been on 3 different TV stations to cover a large majority of Michigan and what everybody's facing here, and especially the southern part of Michigan, and also the things what I have faced for frustrations. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said I could appeal it, but I have to come up with between $300 to $500 for having a professional survey done, with heights and levels and things of that nature, and still no guarantee whether or not the FEMA will accept it.
Well, Keith Haley, we know it's a complex issue, but it is the time to fight back and say no, not only there in Michigan, but all across the country. The federal takeover is happening. We thank you for joining us, and we hope people will look more into the FEMA floodplain insurance issue, the takeover of waterways everywhere, really. They've even said they have jurisdiction over all federal waterways because of terrorism. I mean, what does that mean? Anyway, Alex will be back tomorrow in the INFOWARS Nightly News. As you know, he's been working overtime, not even really sleeping since the money bomb, and he'll be back in full force tomorrow. He was on an all-night interview last night. That's why I'm sitting in. But we will bring you even more with the INFOWARS Nightly News, and thanks to your support, we'll be able to reach even more people now. Help us with our mission. Now is the time. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.